Your presence here today is no random moment in your life. You're here because you have the courage to seek truth within the shadows. Remember, you weren't born to follow, but to question, to explore what others fear to see.
We live in a world where money is much more than just a resource. It is the very symbol of power. But have you ever wondered how much of that power truly resides in our hands? Every day we wake up, work, earn, and spend, and every choice we make seems to hinge on one thing: money. But what if I told you that the money we possess, that we use, isn't really ours? That, in a sense, we are merely temporary custodians of a power that belongs to someone else. Every time we take out a loan, every time we swipe a credit card, we only reinforce a system built on promises and invisible ties, a system few fully understand, yet it controls almost every aspect of our lives. Debt is not just a number on a screen or a sum to be repaid. It is a force that permeates our daily choices, guides our decisions, and, in an invisible way, shapes our future. It has become the lifeblood of the entire economy, a mechanism so deeply embedded in our lives that we often forget it exists. But this apparent stability conceals a far more complex and unsettling reality. Those who control debt also control our lives. Each of us is tied to the debt system whether we like it or not. The house we live in, the car we drive, even the education that enables us to get a job. Nearly everything is based on debt. With every loan, every financing, our role shifts. We are no longer simple citizens but pawns in a network of promises. A network in which we trust that everything will remain stable, that the numbers will make sense, that the system will hold. But what would happen if suddenly that trust faltered? And beneath the surface lies a darker truth, a secret woven into the fabric of debt, a cryptic cycle entwined with interest, elusive and profound. Each time we repay what we owe, we surrender more than we borrowed, nurturing a system that thrives on the illusion of endless money, on the perpetual rise of inflation. But what if this belief is merely a mirage, concealing a far more unsettling reality? This shadowy structure thrives in obscurity, an intricate web designed to bind us in financial chains. Are we truly the architects of our future, or mere pawns in a grand illusion, where unseen hands dictate the rules? As this cycle continues, every repayment drags us deeper into a labyrinthine maze, shrouded in mystery, with no clear path to freedom. The truth is that we are not as free as we believe. Our choices, our future, even our hopes are conditioned by a system that doesn't truly belong to us. A system where power is not in our hands, but in those who control debt. So, while we think we are living independent lives, choosing freely how to use our money, in reality, we are playing a game where the rules have been written by someone else. This is not just an economic system. It is an invisible structure built with ingenuity and calculation that determines who wins and who loses, who is free and who is bound. And the inevitable question arises: who built this structure? Who truly controls the direction we are headed? In the next part, we will begin to unveil these uncomfortable truths, exploring the origins of debt and its impact on our lives. Debt wasn't always this powerful. In its earliest form, it began as a simple agreement between two individuals, a lender and a borrower. In ancient societies, this meant giving resources to someone in need: grains, livestock, or precious metals, expecting they would be returned over time. often with a modest surplus as a token of gratitude. This practice was woven into the very fabric of human civilization, allowing communities to thrive through mutual trust and cooperation. Yet, as civilizations evolved, so too did the nature of debt, transforming it into a complex instrument that underpins our modern financial landscape. The crux of this transformation lies in a mechanism known as fractional reserve banking. This system revolutionized how we understand money and credit. Imagine depositing $1,000 in your bank account. The bank doesn't simply safeguard that entire amount. Instead, it retains only a fraction, usually around 10%, as reserves. The remaining $900 is loaned out to others. These borrowers, in turn, spend that money, circulating it back into the economy. This cycle allows the bank to lend even more, creating an effect where the original deposit generates multiple layers of debt. It's a mesmerizing dance of numbers, producing money from what seems like thin air, and therein lies both its allure and its inherent risks. This practice is more than a banking strategy. It fuels the very engine of our modern economy. It makes credit more accessible, driving consumer spending and enabling investments. Yet, this same accessibility ensnares us in an intricate web of escalating debt, both public and private. Currently, global debt has reached staggering heights, with some nations, like the United States, carrying public debts exceeding $31 trillion. This astronomical figure represents not just numbers on a balance sheet, but the weight of future obligations, compelling governments to make precarious choices that may promote short-term stability while threatening the economic health of future generations. As debt proliferates, banks reap substantial rewards. Each loan made is not merely a transaction. It transforms into a profit-generating mechanism for the institution. Banks charge interest on loans, and even if the borrower defaults, they often recover costs through collateral. In 2021 alone, U.S. banks collectively recorded over $24 billion in net income from interest on loans, showcasing how they monetize the very debts that entrap individuals. And let's not forget the profound shift that occurred when money was decoupled from the gold standard. In 1971, President Nixon officially ended the direct convertibility of the US dollar to gold, marking a pivotal moment in monetary history. No longer bound by physical reserves, banks could now create money based on credit and demand. This change transformed money into a tool of economic manipulation, allowing central banks to print currency freely to manage inflation and stimulate growth without the constraints of gold reserves. The consequences of this shift are monumental. It enabled banks to increase their balance sheets substantially. In 2000, total U.S. bank assets were around $7.5 trillion, but by 2023, that number skyrocketed to over $22 trillion, an increase fueled largely by the creation of debt. Yet this new reality also introduces a shadowy companion: inflation, an unseen force intricately connected to the dynamics of debt. But what exactly is inflation? It's the slow, insidious rise in the price of goods and services over time. Today's prices often seem exorbitant compared to years past, a phenomenon traceable back to the creation of new money through loans. When banks extend credit, they inflate the total money supply. While this encourages borrowing and stimulates consumer spending, it also means more money is chasing the same number of goods and services, causing prices to rise, a classic economic paradox. Governments and central banks grapple with this delicate balance by manipulating interest rates. When interest rates are low, borrowing becomes easier, resulting in a flood of money into the economy. Yet, this influx can also stoke the fires of inflation. Conversely, Raising interest rates can slow down borrowing and spending, cooling inflation but risking stagnation. It's a precarious balancing act, a tightrope walk with no guaranteed outcome in sight. This complex dance between debt, inflation, and interest rates elevates debt beyond just a financial tool. It transforms it into a powerful engine driving the economy forward. Yet, as inflation rises, so too does economic inequality. Those fortunate enough to invest in appreciating assets, like real estate or stocks, witness their wealth expand alongside inflation. In stark contrast, the average individual, tethered to their paycheck, grapples with diminishing purchasing power, making it increasingly challenging to maintain a comfortable standard of living. This evolution of debt also introduces an unsettling truth. While banks create money through the mechanisms of fractional reserve banking, they don't necessarily hold your money in its entirety. Instead, your deposits become part of a larger system of credit creation. The very funds you trust to safeguard can be loaned out, multiplied, and reinvested in ways you might never fully comprehend. This raises profound questions about ownership and value in an age of abstract financial instruments. As we delve deeper into this world of debt, we must ask ourselves, what lies beneath the surface of this system? What forces govern the tides of credit, and how do they shape our reality? The answers may be more elusive than we realize, hinting at a labyrinth of power and influence that remains largely hidden from view. At its heart, debt pulses as the lifeblood of economic expansion, weaving its way through the fabric of society. It births consumption, fuels innovation, and whispers promises of a brighter future. Picture the moment a borrower takes on debt, an earnest couple, eyes shimmering with dreams, signing their first mortgage. Their home, a sanctuary of hopes, becomes a catalyst for life, igniting demand for construction, materials, and labor. The housing market, that great titan of the economy, contributes nearly 4% to the GDP, a testament to how intertwined our financial choices are with the broader rhythms of growth. Yet, as we dance in this delicate ballet of borrowing and spending, an ominous specter looms: inflation. This insidious force creeps in, distorting the very essence of value and eroding the purchasing power of our hard-earned dollars. It is a slow burn, a silent thief that swells prices as more currency flows through the veins of the economy. In the aftermath of the global upheaval brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, the United States witnessed inflation rates soar to nearly 9% in 2022, a stark reminder that prosperity can swiftly turn to peril. Inflation is more than just rising prices. It signifies a disconnect between the availability of money and the availability of goods and services. When central banks, the enigmatic custodians of monetary policy, flood the market with money, they seek to spur growth. But without a corresponding increase in production, the result is often a rapid increase in prices. This phenomenon creates an environment where those with assets, particularly real estate, stocks, or businesses, benefit immensely. Their wealth appreciates, but those without such assets find themselves struggling to keep up with rising costs as this intricate dance unfolds. The repercussions are felt unevenly. Wealth becomes a shimmering mirage, elusive and guarded. The affluent, with their golden keys to opportunity, unlock doors to wealth, while the marginalized remain ensnared in a labyrinth of debt, their hopes dimmed by financial burdens. The stark realities of inequality emerge like dark clouds on the horizon. As of 2021, The top 1% of households in the United States commanded approximately 32% of the nation's wealth, while the bottom 50% clung to a mere 2%. This chasm lays bare a systemic truth. The rich, through their assets and access to favorable credit, accumulate wealth with each passing day, while the impoverished are trapped in cycles of debt that choke their potential. For the wealthy, debt often becomes a tool rather than a burden. They leverage low-interest loans to invest in opportunities that yield high returns, multiplying their wealth exponentially. This is the essence of financial leverage, the ability to use borrowed capital to increase the potential return on investment. In contrast, the lower-income population finds itself burdened by high-interest debt, often trapped in a cycle of payday loans or credit card debt, where the cost of borrowing exacerbates their financial struggles. Imagine, if you will, the lives of two individuals, Sarah and John, cast in the same play yet bound to different scripts. Sarah, with her steady income of $4,000, navigates the world with a sense of purpose and discipline. She diligently sets aside 10% of her earnings, investing $400 each month into a tapestry of opportunities, a diversified portfolio yielding an average annual return of 7%. After 10 years, her efforts blossom into a radiant $58,000, a testament to her foresight and diligence. Meanwhile, John, whose income lags at $3,000, finds himself ensnared by the chains of high-interest debt, each payment a relentless reminder of his plight. Though he manages to save a modest $200 each month, the crushing weight of his obligations stifles his potential for growth. As the years slip by, he remains trapped in a cycle of debt that devours his aspirations, while Sarah's investment flourishes in the sunlight of opportunity. And if we analyze what would happen in the real estate world, after a year, she has saved $4,800, enough for a down payment on a modest property. With careful research and the guidance of a knowledgeable real estate agent, she purchases a small rental property for $240,000, putting down 20%, $48,000, and securing a mortgage for the remaining $192,000. Over the next decade, the rental market flourishes. As property values appreciate, her investment grows. By the end of 10 years, her property's value has increased to approximately $360,000, allowing her to sell it for a significant profit. Not only has she gained from the appreciation of her asset, but her rental income, averaging $1,800 per month, provides an additional cash flow, further enhancing her financial stability. Her investment journey blossoms into a radiant return, yielding over $150,000 in total wealth accumulation, a testament to her foresight and diligence. Meanwhile, John, whose income lags at $3,000, finds himself ensnared by the chains of high-interest debt, each payment a relentless reminder of his plight. Though he manages to save a modest $200 each month, the crushing weight of his obligations stifles his potential for growth. After a year, he has accumulated $2,400, but his high-interest credit card debt continues to grow. Each month, the interest compounds, and his savings seem to vanish into the ether of financial strain. As the years slip by, he remains trapped in a cycle of debt that devours his aspirations. While Sarah's investment flourishes in the sunlight of opportunity, John's financial reality feels increasingly bleak. The disparity between them grows, reflecting a broader narrative where access to resources and opportunities defines the trajectory of their lives. This narrative illustrates a haunting truth. The rich get richer, while the less fortunate remain tethered to the ground, unable to soar. The wealth gap is not just a statistic. It is a profound societal fracture that shapes destinies and alters lives. The repercussions of this divide ripple through communities, influencing choices, health, and aspirations, crafting a reality where the dream of upward mobility feels increasingly distant. Debt looms like a dark cloud, casting shadows over our dreams. It transforms numbers into a specter, whispering fears into those ensnared. The psychological burden of debt becomes an invisible shackle woven into our lives. For many, each bill serves as a haunting reminder of unmet obligations, fueling anxiety and robbing sleep. Research shows that significant debt correlates with a 13% increase in depressive symptoms linked to debt-to-income ratios. Consider Jack, a young professional burdened by student loans, whose vibrant dreams dim under financial constraints. This weight spills into relationships, igniting silent battles over finances. Couples who argue about money often report dissatisfaction. Young couples, once hopeful, now navigate a maze of bills, their dreams stifled by financial strain. Debt's toll extends beyond emotions. It wreaks havoc on physical health, contributing to hypertension and heart disease. Some people, overwhelmed by medical bills, lie awake at night, their body echoing the stress. As debt breeds insecurity, individuals feel trapped in a cycle of obligation that erodes self-worth. Opportunities for growth slip away, overshadowed by fear of financial repercussions. Banks, as silent architects of this system, profit immensely from the cycle of debt, generating over $24 billion in interest income annually. While individuals grapple with strain, these institutions thrive, perpetuating a cycle where the few prosper while many languish in despair. In 2021, U.S. banks collectively reported over $24 billion in net income from interest on loans, a staggering figure that underscores the systemic inequities woven into our financial fabric. The architecture of fractional reserve banking allows these institutions to operate on borrowed time, loaning out more than they possess while multiplying the debt burden on consumers. This cycle of profit feeds into a larger narrative of systemic inequality, where the few prosper while the many are left to navigate a labyrinth of financial burdens with no clear exit. Furthermore, financial institutions wield significant influence over economic policy, lobbying for regulations that favor their interests. This results in a landscape where the wealthy continue to benefit from tax breaks and favorable lending conditions, while the working class bears the brunt of economic downturns. As we traverse this exploration of debt, inflation, and inequality, we are confronted with unsettling truths. The very mechanisms that drive economic growth are intertwined with a system that perpetuates disparity, crafting a world where opportunity is often a luxury reserved for the privileged. What unseen forces perpetuate this divide? How do societal structures and economic systems conspire to keep the scales tipped? Join us as we delve deeper into the shadowy realms of financial disparity, exploring the haunting effects of debt on our collective psyche and the stark reality that for many, the pursuit of prosperity is an uphill battle against the weight of an unforgiving system and the shadows of our economic landscape, where the dance of currency and credit unfolds. Central banks operate like enigmatic sorcerers, shaping destinies with every whispered decision. Cloaked in secrecy, they manipulate the levers of monetary policy, conjuring the delicate balance of inflation and growth. But what arcane wisdom guides their hands? As they wield the power to dictate the very essence of national value, Their actions send ripples through the fabric of society, affecting lives in ways both subtle and profound. What secrets lie within their vaults? Can these institutions, guardians of stability, also sow the seeds of chaos? Join us as we venture into the shadowy corridors of central banking, where every rate hike and policy shift may hold the key to unraveling the mysteries of our financial existence. Today, we examined how debt, originally meant to give people equal access to financing, sets off a complex cycle within our economy. Debt drives spending, and increased spending fuels economic growth. Companies grow, jobs are created, and investors profit. For those with the resources to invest, this process creates further wealth as rising asset values and investment opportunities lead to financial gains. But this same mechanism has a different impact for those with fewer resources. As inflation rises alongside economic growth, people without extra capital for investments feel the effects primarily as a rise in the cost of living, with little chance to benefit from the cycle. The result is a deepening divide. Those with resources get richer, while those without fall further behind. This dual impact of debt challenges us to question who truly benefits from our economic system and who is left to bear its costs. Today, we delved into the shadowy underbelly of debt, a powerful force that creeps into our lives and shapes our very existence. Debt is not just a mere number. It is a silent specter that haunts our dreams and ambitions, twisting our aspirations into chains of obligation. As we followed the stories of individuals, we uncovered a chilling reality. While some glide effortlessly through life, using debt as a tool to build their fortunes, others are ensnared in a relentless cycle of financial despair, their hopes extinguished under the weight of unyielding payments. The implications of our exploration reach far beyond personal tales of struggle. They unravel a disturbing truth about our society, one that reveals how the powerful manipulate the system, leaving countless individuals trapped in a web of inequality. We must ask ourselves, how many dreams have been shattered by the merciless grip of debt? What unseen forces conspire to keep the scales tipped in favor of the wealthy, while the less fortunate sink deeper into darkness? But this is just the beginning. Understanding the insidious nature of debt is essential to grasping the larger, more unsettling forces at play in our economic reality. Today, we peeled back the layers of a facade that many choose to ignore, exposing a complex web of influence that governs not only our finances but the very fabric of our lives. That as we prepare to venture into the next chapter, brace yourself for a journey into the cryptic world of central banking. What dark secrets lie hidden behind the fortress-like walls of these powerful institutions? How do they manipulate the economy? And what are the uncomfortable truths that they don't want you to know? We will explore the mysterious practice of seigniorage and unveil the unsettling relationship between the state and banks, a connection that may hold the key to understanding the financial chains that bind us all. Get ready for revelations that may unsettle you, truths that challenge the very foundation of what you think you know about money and power. The hidden machinations of the banking system are poised to be uncovered, and what we find may leave you questioning everything you believed about our financial reality. Stay close, for as we plunge deeper into this murky abyss, we will shine a light on the dark corners of our economic existence, revealing the secrets that many would rather keep buried. The uncomfortable truths of the banking world await, and they may reveal a chilling narrative that affects us all. Prepare yourself, for the next episode will expose the hidden forces that dictate our lives and the unsettling realities of a system designed to keep us in the dark.